So guys, this is a weird one. I don't know how to feel about this. So you guys let me know in the comments how you perceive these comments. Is this how Lil Wayne should be going about this whole situation? Is this the right energy to have? And does he still feel too entitled about not getting that Super Bowl halftime show? Or is he playing the politics properly here? And do you think this is all an act? Or is he really that out of the loop as to what's going on? Like, if you're a Wayne fan, then you know he's always kind of been in his own world. Information that gets to him or songs that get to him likely get to him through his team. If not, he would know nothing about what's going on in the culture. And he has stated multiple times before, which I think is a great thing. I think it's one of the things that makes him stand out so much as an artist, is that he doesn't pay attention to other rappers, what's going on in hip hop, other music that's hot right now, because it distracts him from his own craft. If he heard everything that was hot on the charts today, then he would try his hardest to recreate that instead of just kind of doing him. But I think in this situation, his obliviousness to everything that's been going on with Kendrick, with Drake, with the Super Bowl, and his reaction to it, his obliviousness has been the detriment to why he's been, in the eyes of the public, reacting like such a child to this whole thing. So he finally just spoke on Kendrick doing the halftime show. He finally spoke on his, relationship or situation with Kendrick, and it contradicts a couple things. It contradicts what we've heard from other people in the industry on how Lil Wayne's currently feeling, and statements made directly by Wayne himself on how he's feeling. It contradicts a lot of that. Can we chalk it up to his, obliviousness, the lack of attention he pays to what's going on in the media, in the culture, or is this a calculated attempt at kind of trying to play politics? To give you guys some backstory as to, why this is contradictory, or for anyone who didn't even know that there might have been an issue between Lil Wayne and Kendrick to begin with, if you already know this, then skip about 1 to 2 minutes in, and we'll start going over all the new comments that Lil Wayne made. But basically what happened is that obviously Drake and Kendrick had their whole battle. Obviously, Drake won. Yes, he won a massive butt whipping from Kendrick when he released Not Like Us. And Lil Wayne had been performing one of his songs with Drake, The Motto, while wearing an OVO chain, and he was chanting, "They don't like us, they don't like us." So it seemed like Lil Wayne had picked his side. He was siding with his protege Drake, as he should. Like, Kendrick just destroyed the reputation of your cash cow. Obviously, you're not going to be too happy if that money's not printing in the same capacity it was a couple years back. But simultaneously, Wayne's been talking about how much he wants to perform at the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. That seems a lot more attainable since Jay-Z is one of the main guys who's been picking who's going to be the halftime performing act since about 2020. He decided to give Dr. Dre the opportunity of doing the halftime show in his hometown of California. So Wayne probably thought, the Super Bowl is going to be in New Orleans. It's only right that with Jay-Z, a fellow rapper, being in charge of who picks the acts, leaning more towards choosing R&B and hip-hop acts, then the stars aligned for Wayne to be that next halftime performer. They picked Kendrick instead. Everyone around Wayne went off on specifically Jay-Z. Cameron said that Wayne wasn't picked due to an issue that he had with Jay-Z. Nicki Minaj blasted Jay-Z on Twitter, saying this is a calculated attempt at trying to take Drake out. Birdman was doing his hand rub, also tweeting at Jay-Z. Louisiana vets like Master P even chimed in. Travis Scott and Drake were subliminally showing their support for Wayne by posting old clips and videos of him on their Instagrams. And again, I think Wayne is so divulged in his own world that he probably didn't even know that Kendrick was chosen to be the halftime performer. But when everyone around Wayne was outraged at the fact that they chose Kendrick over Wayne, which in my opinion I think was slight fake outrage, and they were really more mad at the fact that Kendrick now has the opportunity to potentially perform Not Like Us on that Super Bowl stage. But when Wayne saw the outrage, he got on Instagram Live, teary-eyed, saying that the moment was taken away from him, saying that it took a while for him to even pick the pieces of himself back together to make a public statement on how disappointed he was that that opportunity was stripped away from him. Then he hosted his own festival in New Orleans where he said that, again, the opportunity of performing at the Super Bowl was stripped away from him, robbed from him, as if it was something that he deserved over Kendrick, but they couldn't take the opportunity away for him to perform in his hometown at his own festival. Now, Kendrick, who has always looked at Wayne as a massive inspiration, rapped about Wayne on the intro to his new album, saying, "I used to bump the Carter 3, I wore my early chain proud. The irony, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down." Basically saying that, all the work I put in to get to this position, to attain all the success, to be able to even be looked at as a worthy candidate to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, has now disappointed one of my idols, Lil Wayne. And this is where, again, I think Lil Wayne doesn't listen to music outside himself. I don't think he knows what's going on, but I think it got back to him that Kendrick mentioned him on his new album, possibly not in the most positive of lights, even though it was definitely not a diss at Wayne. But regardless, a day after GNX released, Wayne took to Twitter to say, "Man, what the F I do? I just be chilling and they come for my head. Let's not take kindness for weakness. Let this giant sleep. I beg you all. No one really wants destruction. Not even me, but I shall destroy if disturbed. On me, love." Weird choice of words considering Wayne has never actively sought out a battle rap opponent. He's actually said multiple times in the past that he, deems himself a great rapper, which he definitely is, but he doesn't have the skill of being a great battle rapper. So this was kind of a weird energy to bring, especially since Kendrick wasn't actually dissing him. Then Joe Budden went on to say that he heard from someone that Wayne tried to call Kendrick to patch things up. Kendrick never answered, so Wayne got in the booth and actually recorded a diss track of his own. Maybe he wanted to step in for Drake. Maybe he felt truly offended that Kendrick took that opportunity away from him to perform at the halftime show. Maybe the people around Wayne were just gassing him up to think that Kendrick stole this opportunity from him and is now disrespecting him on his new album. But regardless, it seemed like Wayne was not happy with Kendrick and he was happily ready for the smoke. But he's painting a much different picture today. So Wayne did an interview with Skip Bayless, and Skip asked him why he thinks he wasn't chosen to be the halftime performer. Wayne gave two reasons, which were actually pretty logical. He said there's a professional reason and a personal reason. So professionally, he believes that this decision is something that's over his head, which, yes, of course it is. It's probably even over Jay-Z's head. I mean, I know there's been a lot of debate about how much involvement Jay truly has in making that final decision, but at the end of the day, I mean, Jay-Z's favorite artist could be Beanie Siegel, for all we know, or Megan Thee Stallion. He seems to, take a liking to his own Rock Nation artist, Megan Thee Stallion, these days. But no matter how much he rooted for those artists, if it didn't make sense from a corporate perspective for the NFL to choose someone like that to perform at their event, I don't think there's no amount of convincing that Jay could do to sway that decision. Again, it's over Wayne's head, it's over probably Jay's head. It's got to make sense from a corporate perspective for the artist who performs to align with the viewership, the audience that's going to be watching that performance, right? You got a bunch of little kids, families, you got over 100 million people watching this performance. So the music's got to resonate on a global scale. And in 2024, I don't know if, She Wanna Lick the Rapper is going to be the most worthy song to be performed on a stage like that. But I'd said before, I'd love to see a Lil Wayne Super Bowl halftime show. But again, it's over my head, it's over Wayne's head, probably over Jay's head in a certain sense, and it just doesn't make sense to choose Lil Wayne in 2024 over Kendrick. Now, he said that's the professional reason why, and then he said on a personal level, he believes that he's not great enough to get there, to be deserving of that spot. That's what I kind of got from it, right? Like before, Kendrick was even announced as one of the performers, Wayne was doing interviews saying how bad he wanted that opportunity, but he was saying he was going to work so hard where he made that decision for the committee to be undeniable, that he undeniably deserved the opportunity. And when you look at his output since then, I mean, he's teased the Carter 6, he hasn't given it to us. He hasn't had a big hit since, I don't believe, 2018. I think that was the last time he had a real hit. So did he really do everything he could to make himself an undeniably worthy candidate for the opportunity? I don't personally think so, and I don't think he thinks so either. So these are his two reasons as to why he thinks he wasn't chosen.
They're choosing not to ask you.
I give you my general answer, and then I give you the personal answer. So generally, I just believe that, for whatever reason, I believe that it's over my head. I don't know why, period. Obviously, I believe that it's perfect, but I do not know why. But personally, the person I am, I straight look at it like, you ain't there, you gotta get there. You gotta get there. But you know how we skip, you know how we rock. You gotta have it.
Come on, man.
So Skip Bayless follows that up by implying that it's politics involved, and Wayne agrees that it's something he can't control, and that's truly the reason why he wasn't chosen. But again, I do think that's a little contradictory because he made it seem like this opportunity was stripped from him or robbed from him, and it's like, if you truly believe that, then what are these politics you're talking about? What higher-ups do you think are trying to deliberately block you from performing over Kendrick? Do you think your music's not family-friendly enough? Because Kendrick's about to go and perform a song where he accuses your protege of being a PDF file on that same stage. Or do you think you haven't had enough hits in the last few years to be worthy of that position? Or, what are these politics that you think are coming into play where the higher-ups, quote-unquote, are saying that you don't deserve that opportunity over Kendrick?
I mean, you're the GOAT, and it's New Orleans. It just makes no sense to me. I don't get it. Their politics played. I don't know.
That's another part of it. I think there's things that I can't control involved in it. So it is what it is.
Then Wayne's asked if he's dealing with this opportunity that, as he puts it, was quote unquote robbed from him better now than he was when he first heard the news. And Wayne says no, it still hurts him tremendously, but he's embracing the facts and moving on. And I just think that's weird, man, because I mean, there's been a lot of rumors that they offered Drake this opportunity multiple times and he turned it down. And, you know, I can't help but think that back when Wayne was calling himself the best rapper alive in 2007, 2008, he would have just brushed this off as if it was nothing. Like, I think there even was a Super Bowl when he was like in his prime commercially, and it was in New Orleans, and he had no reaction to not being chosen to be that performer. And he would have been a lot more worthy back then, I believe, than he would right now. So it is a little weird to me that when they decide to go with Kendrick, that's when the outrage actually happens. But at least he did say that he's embracing the facts and moving on.
Are you better with it now than you were when it first hit?
No.
You seem better, because I know at first you were pretty torn up about it, as you should have been.
You know, talking to people that matter, talking to people that care about me, they telling me things that, you know, telling me the truth, telling me the facts, and dealing with living, you know, accepting the facts, embracing the facts, and moving on.
Okay.
Then he continues to emphasize that, you know, he has to earn the right to be on that stage. It's not something that can just be handed to him just because it's in his hometown or because he's been in interviews multiple times saying how badly he wants it. And what made me excited is that he said he actually told his managers that he wants to get to a point where he's undeniable. And I hope that means coming with a lot better music, because if you've been following Wayne for the last few years, then you probably know the incredible feature run he's been going on. You probably know that technically, as an actual MC, he hasn't lost his skills in the slightest. His double entendres, his flow, his energy is sharper than ever. But when it comes to his recent solo music, the spark is missing that was there 10 years ago. If you look at Funeral, if you look at The Fix Before the Six, if you look at his albums with Rich the Kid or 2 Chainz, like, as much as I love Wayne, there's a reason why he hasn't had a hit in over 6 years. It's because the music isn't nearly as good. It's not as inspired. You're not getting the Dr. Carters or the Amilies or the 6 foot, 7 foots anymore. You're not getting those memorable, anthemic, catchy hooks like a Right Above It or a Duffel Bag Boys or Make It Rain or Bill Gates or Pop Bottles. Like, we haven't gotten a certified timeless hit from Lil Wayne in years. So I hope when he says, you know, he's going to work hard to make himself undeniable for that opportunity to perform at the Super Bowl, that means coming with much better solo material in the future, especially when you're, you know, planning on releasing an album as anticipated as the Carter 6 with so much weight to that series as a whole. You got to put a lot of time into your craft on the music on that project. So hopefully he comes with something that really does make him undeniable in the future.
You're saying you got to get better to earn the right to be on that stage?
This is what I told myself. I told Mac, I told Fabe, this is what I told him. I said, you know what?
Your managers, yeah.
So, you know, I said, I want to get to the point where I'm undeniable. Yeah, I want them to walk in there and have 10 other choices, and whoever's in charge say, no.
Okay,
no,
I love that.
You have to go with him.
I thought you were undeniable right here, right now, but that's just
Thank you, Skip. Thank you.
But then we get to the interesting part, because Skip Bayless asks him about the lyrics that Kendrick rapped on Whacked Out Murals where he references Wayne, and Skip acts like he's a little bit confused about it, but Wayne acts like he's even more confused about it, which is the most confusing part, because a day after the song was released, Wayne tweeted out that whole thing about not waking the demon up and he shall destroy if disturbed, and like, what the hell did he do? Like, that's why I say again, and I said this before when I covered this beef a couple weeks ago, is that it was probably someone on Wayne's team who told him like, hey, Kendrick just mentioned you in not the most positive light on his new album, and Wayne himself probably never heard these bars and just got on Twitter based off information that he heard from the people around him, because he's just in his own world. And again, he admits to this. He says he doesn't actually know the lyrics because he's never heard them.
Explain this part to me, because I don't know the backstory of this, but what Kendrick Lamar, you know, what his lyrics were about you. What can you explain? I'll just quickly read them. I know you know them. I used to bump that Carter 3. Okay. I used to bump that Carter 3. I held my Rolly chain proud. Irony, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down, from Kendrick Lamar.
I mean, look at the look on Wayne's face when Skip reads him the lyrics. That's a look of genuine confusion. That looks like he's saying like, oh crap, like Kendrick just name dropped me like this on his new album. Like, his face here looks exactly like how I pictured his face when he wrote that tweet saying not to wake the demon up, but Back then, he was acting like he heard these lyrics. Now he's reacting to them and openly admitting that he's never heard them. So, which one is it? Like, what prompted him to tweet that whole thing out a couple of weeks ago when now it seems like this is all news to him? This is what makes no sense to me.
From Kendrick Lamar, let Lil Wayne down. And I don't really understand that. Help me out. What was that about?
That was my first time hearing it, but
And then Lil Wayne clarifies a couple things, and here is where I think he kind of makes sense. But again, it's just weird to me that he was acting like he was all butthurt over these bars a couple weeks ago. Now he's pretending like he's never heard them and actually making it seem like he fully understands that Kendrick meant no malintention behind what he was saying here. He basically says that he's a fan of Kendrick's music and explains that Kendrick can't control the Super Bowl or who gets picked, but he understands where Kendrick was coming from in terms of he knows how much that opportunity meant to Wayne to perform at the Super Bowl, and being the big fan of Wayne that he is, understood that, all of his hard work led him to be the Super Bowl halftime performer, but simultaneously that disappointed Wayne that he didn't get the opportunity for himself.
I think he's a fan, like I'm a fan of his music.
Sure.
He's a fan of mine.
Yeah.
I think
he's definitely a fan of yours.
Yeah, so I think he just mean by he saw how much it meant to me. And I think that's all he mean. And when we speak, and obviously he can't control that. And so he didn't let me know. It ain't like he can control it or nothing.
Then what's interesting, which will probably piss Drake off, is that Wayne says he actually spoke to Kendrick and told him he better kill the Super Bowl. Now, it's interesting because, again, we heard from Joe Budden that Wayne tried to call Kendrick to clarify this. Kendrick never picked up, so that prompted Wayne to get in the booth and allegedly record a diss track. Now Wayne is saying that he actually did speak to Kendrick and there was no, bad blood. Instead, he actually congratulated Kendrick about this whole thing.
And also, I've spoken to him and I wished him all the best and told him he better kill it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you better kill it. You gotta kill it.
And Kendrick's right-hand guy and one of the best features, in my opinion, on GNX, Hit a J3, actually reacted to this clip saying, "Salute to Lil Wayne for clearing the air. Never let the internet dictate your reactions." And it's always somebody like this other guy who rather hear something negative. This other guy he's referring to is the interviewer Skip Bayless. Little does he know that Skip is actually a good friend of Wayne, but he's completely engulfed in the sports world. He doesn't really know anything about hip-hop, and I've watched his interviews with Wayne in the past. He always asks questions in this kind of oblivious way because I believe he just genuinely doesn't really know anything about what's going on in hip-hop, and he always kind of asks these questions about hip-hop related things in more of like a concerned friend type of way rather than like a, malicious TMZ style interviewer who's trying to get the juiciest headline for their show. Like, it sounds like when I ask my buddy who's struggling in investment banking how his career's going. Like, I don't know nothing about that, but you're my boy. I'm concerned for you, but I'm probably not going to come and ask the most sophisticated, productive questions to your situation. But then Skip asks if Kendrick ever explained Wayne these lyrics and what he actually meant behind it, and Wayne says no, Kendrick never did explain it, but he doesn't owe Wayne an explanation. And again, Wayne emphasizes, funny enough, that this is his first time ever hearing these lyrics, so I can't imagine he was asking Kendrick about lyrics he'd never heard before. I also can't imagine why he tweeted out, "Don't wake the demon up and I shall destroy if disturbed," if he never heard these bars. But again, he's emphasizing that Kendrick never explained these lyrics to him, but Wayne understands that there's no ill will behind them, even though he's claiming that he's never heard them before Skip Bayless just read them to him right now.
Did he say anything to enlighten you about these lyrics about you? I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down.
No, he didn't have to do anything. There was no explanation that was needed for that. I think I understand. Again, that was my first time hearing it when you just said it.
Okay.
But I understand those words. Like I said, I think he just mean that he made it there, and his hard work is the reason why he made it there. Obviously,
I took
let
it.
me down is me just being upset about not getting that. So that's fine.
Then Skip tries to, interpret these lyrics with his very small hip-hop knowledge. At least I'm assuming he has small hip-hop knowledge. He's assuming, again, that Lil Wayne did deserve that stage and that should have been his stage, and basically stating that Kendrick was also aware that that should have been Wayne's stage. Also great to see, though, that Wayne, acknowledges Kendrick did show him sympathy, even though I don't think Wayne necessarily needs sympathy in this situation, but it's good to see that, Kendrick did reach out and let Wayne know, like, I understand where you're coming from, and I never meant nothing bad about it, and I'm sorry you can't, perform in your own hometown.
I worked as hard as I could, and I got to a point where, unfortunately, it let you down because I preempted you on what should have been your stage.
And without having any control of it. So that's actually him showing that he has, some heart and he care about the situation. He could go, but it's totally different. He could go this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And what's great to see again is that Wayne confirmed that him and Kendrick are actually on good terms, much to probably Drake's disapproval. He emphasizes that there's no bad blood between him and Kendrick. They're cool, and he actually did tell Kendrick that he better kill it on that Super Bowl stage, and he believes that Kendrick will kill it.
But you guys are cool. You have talked.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right,
I told him he got to kill it. That's what I told him. I told him he got to smash it.
Well, he will smash it. I'm sure
yes,
he will.
Of course he will.
Then Wayne's asked if he'll make an appearance or if there's any chance that he'll appear with Kendrick on that stage. And he gives, in my opinion, the most clever answer he gave in this entire interview, where he doesn't deliberately say, I can't really do that to Drake, man. I can't make that appearance with Kendrick after he stomped on Drake's grave. Like, that wouldn't be a good look. Instead, he says this.
So is there any way last second that you would be asked to make a little appearance with him on stage?
I'm not going to even be in the country.
Okay, all right. Okay, I appreciate that. I actually love that and endorse that. I think that would be exactly what you should do.
So what do you guys think, man? I mean, again, it's great to see that Wayne, from his side, everything is all good between him and Kendrick. There's no ill will, and it does seem like he actually does understand Kendrick's perspective of these bars. What I'm just so confused about is how in the hell did you sound so upset just weeks ago when that album first released, but now you're claiming you never even heard these bars? Where did that reaction come from then? Was that someone on your team, or did someone on your team just feed you misinformation that prompted you to get on Twitter and then you and Kendrick clarified things? That's probably the most logical answer to me in this whole thing. But again, he's emphasizing countless times that he's never heard the song Whacked Out Murals. And when Skip reads him the lyrics, the look on his face, that confused look, genuinely looks like he has never heard these lyrics before. And then he's saying that Kendrick never explained to him these lyrics. So if he's completely been oblivious to these lyrics the entire time, what the hell prompted him to get on Twitter and respond to GNX like that? Why was he saying, he'll destroy if disturbed? Why was Joe Budden saying that he got in the booth to make a diss track against Kendrick, but now he's saying things are all good between him and Kendrick and that he knows Kendrick meant no ill will towards the bars that he claims he never heard before, even though he reacted to them on Twitter a day after they came out? Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.
There's a lot of little nuggets in both of their disses that if it wasn't for these breakdowns and salute to, guys like this, Rapaholics, because I think they directly get it.